Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And as much as my world needs heroes, Marvel's new Ultimate Universe needs them a whole lot more. When Jonathan Hickman laid the groundwork in Ultimate Invasion, he created a world in which its greatest heroes never formed. And without heroes, the Maker reshaped this world as he saw fit. Now, that process had a lot of ramifications, and we've seen them play out in various ways in numerous Ultimate titles. But Deniz Camp's Ultimates feels like a much more direct follow-up to the story that Hickman began. The first issue effectively laid out the stakes clearly and concisely. The Maker is still contained within the city, but he's going to escape in less than 2 years. That is not nearly enough time to undo everything he did in this new Marvel universe, but it has to start somewhere. And after his father died defeating the Maker, Tony Stark has taken it upon himself to reassemble Earth's mightiest heroes. But Ultimates #1 also made clear that this was going to be a messy, if not frustrating process. He already had the aid of Doctor Doom, who is actually Reed Richards in this universe. And they were able to successfully recruit the likes of Thor, Lady Sif, Captain America, Giant Man, and Wasp. And messy or not, there was plenty of dramatic and narrative weight to this effort. It established that the Ultimates are reforming. They are trying to fix this world that the Maker so thoroughly broke. And in Ultimates #2, the next step in that effort commences. And that step involves saving America, in more ways than one. Because one of the most memorable moments in Ultimates #1 was Captain America's reaction to how America changed since he went on ice. We didn't know all the details of that change, but his reaction alone showed that it did not sit well with him. And in Ultimates #2, we not only learned some of those disturbing details, we see Captain America lead the Ultimates to the steps of the White House with a singular focus: save the America he once fought for. It's simple, it's blunt, and it's exactly the kind of black and white idealism that Captain America so perfectly embodies. But it also seems so out of place in this new Ultimate Universe. Because aside from what the Maker did to change the course of history, his allies, the Maker's Council, have effectively carved the world up into their own personal domains. That includes the former United States. They even went so far as to stage a devastating terrorist attack on New York City to brand the Ultimates as terrorists. It means that the general masses aren't going to cheer on Captain America and the rest of the Ultimates as they storm the White House. But that does not seem to bother them in the slightest, nor should it, because that singular idealistic approach that Cap embodies, it really feels like the perfect counter to what the Ultimates are up against. That approach carries a lot more weight than usual, because in between the action that unfolds throughout Ultimates #2, we also get some brief flashbacks with Cap, and here Tony gives him a crash course in alternate American history. Like everything else in this new Ultimate Universe, it was heavily influenced by the Maker. But what makes it so disturbing is just how effective he ended up being. He started simply by allying himself with President John F. Kennedy. It is a fitting and often used turning point for American history. But it makes even more sense here because the classic Marvel Universe as we know it began in the early 1960s. So there are some subtle but solid connections with the classic Lee Kirby era of Marvel. And just like what happened in the real world, everything changed when Kennedy was assassinated. Except in this new Ultimate Universe, there wasn't much need for a larger conspiracy. This was just the Maker putting himself in a position to exploit the situation to the utmost. And he did so in ways that went beyond dissolving America and working it into the Maker's Council. And honestly, I wish there were more pages exploring this. This history the Maker forged could probably be its own issue, and I would totally read that issue. But the major details that are revealed do plenty to inform why the Ultimates are doing what they're doing. Once they're in the White House, they fight their way to the Oval Office with relative ease. But who they encounter isn't the president, at least not in a form that anyone would recognize. Instead, they find Midas, aka Cosmic Man. While this character does have some parallels with his mainline counterpart, who Midas is in this new Ultimate Universe is quite distinct. He spends most of his fight against the Ultimates, and most of his issue for that matter, monologuing over what America has become under the Maker. And while you can read all the politics you want into his words, what he says about America is a direct attack against everything Captain America has fought for. Because to Midas, there are no higher American ideals. He freely admits he took over America's leadership in 1963 as part of a deal he made with the Maker. It wasn't political in the grand scheme of things, it was just a business decision. He never saw America as the land of the free and the home of the brave. He only ever saw it as a place rich in resources, both human and material. and his primary goal was to extract those resources and exploit them to the utmost. Now, even if you're a staunch free market capitalist, this guy is cartoonishly extreme. But that's exactly what makes Midas work here, because he's not some cruel, pure evil mastermind on the level of the Red Skull. He's just a delightfully amoral businessman who wants to make an ungodly amount of money. Being president of the United States is just a means to that end. Again, you can read whatever politics you want into that, but beyond just avoiding the preachiness and cynicism that often comes with this sort of plot, Midas reveals something else that's very relevant to the Ultimates. He is an adversary devoid of any idealism of any kind. Even when compared to other members of the Makers Council, this guy sees everything as a transaction. He has no vision for America or the world at large. Midas is perfectly happy to just leave that sort of thing to the Maker. And in America without any vision or higher ideals, Midas will be another cog in the Maker's machinations. This perfectly reflects the larger themes of this new Ultimate Universe, in that without its heroes, there are no higher ideals or aspirations. There's just the Maker, the Maker's Council, and billions of people who might as well be insects in a colony, conditioned to only think that they're free. Midas keeps trying to justify himself, and he keeps trying to denigrate the very concept of America on every level. But at no point does Captain America ever take this guy seriously. He doesn't even argue with him. There's no inspirational speeches or anything like that, and it's really not necessary, because Midas is just so shameless in his agenda that he's not worth taking seriously. The outcome of the fight was never in question. Midas might be a walking parody of excess greed, but he was never going to be Captain America or the Ultimates. The more he spoke, the more satisfying it was when he eventually fell. But in doing so, he reveals something unexpected yet intriguing for the future of the Ultimates. In the basement of the White House, a familiar female figure has been contained in a machine. She wields great power, but Midas only ever saw that power as another resource to exploit. And once she's freed, she's revealed to be America Chavez, the universe-hopping heroine who would probably notice someone like the Maker when he disrupts an entire universe. And while she doesn't get a chance to do much after she's freed, she does provide the Ultimates with a powerful new ally, one who has just as much incentive as Captain America to right the wrongs of the Maker. Considering how this new Ultimate Universe began with someone hopping universes, I think America Chavez's presence is a big deal here. Because remember, the Ultimates are working against the clock. The Maker is going to return eventually, and they'll need all the allies they can. But an ally who specializes in punching holes to new universes, that has implications that go beyond supplementing the Ultimates' ranks. Between those implications and the deeply satisfying spectacle of Steve Rogers fighting for American ideals, Ultimates #2 is a solid follow-up from the first issue. The effort to reassemble Earth's mightiest heroes in this new Ultimate Universe has been challenging, full of complications and setbacks. But even as the Maker's allies fight to preserve this new world and their place in it, it does nothing to dissuade the Ultimates. All Captain America has to offer them is two options: stand with them or go through them. And as a proud American myself, this is a fight I am happy to support. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, take care and stay safe.